Have you ever had one of those nights where everything just feels off, but you can't quite put your finger on why? Like something's brewing under the surface, but you keep trying to ignore it, hoping it'll pass? Well, that's exactly what happened one night at my house when my dad was out of town. I thought it would be just a regular, quiet evening, but my stepmom, Rachel, and her friend Lauren had other plans. They invited me to hang out with them in the hot tub, and honestly, I should have stayed inside. But I didn't. I thought it would be fun, just a casual night, maybe a couple of laughs. I didn't know I was about to be thrown into a situation that would completely mess with my head. Let me tell ya, I'll never look at my stepmom or Lauren the same way again. The night started innocent enough, but it quickly spiraled into something I could never have predicted. There were moments, real moments, when I thought things were about to cross a line that would change everything. Before we continue, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. It was a Saturday night, and my dad was out of town for work. As usual, my stepmom, Rachel, decided to have her friend Lauren over. These two were like peas in a pod, always giggling, gossiping, and clinking wine glasses. They weren't over-the-top party animals, but they sure knew how to have a good time. The evening started harmless enough. I was in my room gaming when Rachel knocked on my door. She poked her head in, her cheeks already a little flushed. "Hey, we're heating up the hot tub. Come join us," she said with a laugh. I wasn't planning on it, but her casual, "Don't be such a hermit," sealed the deal. Plus, I wasn't about to let them have all the fun while I stayed cooped up inside. I threw on my swim trunks and headed outside. The backyard was lit up by the soft glow of string lights, and the smell of Rachel's favorite lavender-scented candles filled the air. Rachel and Lauren were already in the hot tub, laughing and sipping what I assumed was wine. "Look who decided to show up," Lauren teased, her voice dripping with mock surprise. I slid into the water, the warmth instantly relaxing me. At first, everything was normal. We joked around. Rachel told some embarrassing stories about my dad, and Lauren chimed in with her sarcastic quips. But then, things started to shift. It's crazy how fast the mood can change when alcohol is involved. One minute, it's all fun and games, and the next, well, you'll see. As the night went on, Rachel and Lauren got more relaxed, more loose with their words. It started with a few offhand comments, little touches here and there that didn't seem like much at first. But after a couple of glasses of wine, those touches weren't just playful, they were deliberate. I remember Lauren leaning in to whisper something to Rachel, her breath warm on Rachel's ear. Rachel laughed, her hand lightly brushing against Lauren's. Then Rachel turned to me, a devilish grin on her face. "You've got to admit, you're a little curious about us, huh?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. At first, I thought I misheard. Was she joking? It wasn't like Rachel to talk like that, especially around me. But something in the air felt different now. The steam from the hot tub wasn't the only thing clouding the atmosphere. Lauren's eyes met mine, and I swear, for a split second, it felt like she was sizing me up. "You know," she said, "sometimes people do things they never thought they would, especially when they've had a few drinks." I couldn't tell if they were playing some weird game, or if they were seriously flirting. But before I could respond, Rachel splashed water at me, breaking the tension. "Don't look so nervous, we're just messing with you." Rachel giggled, but it didn't feel like just messing around. There was something in her tone, something too calculated. And that's when I realized I wasn't just in the hot tub with my stepmom and her friend anymore. There was something else in the water now. The night had taken a weird turn, but the weirdness wasn't over yet. The tension in the hot tub was thick, like you could almost feel it in the air pressing down on everything. I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was all just the alcohol talking. Maybe they were just joking around. But my gut told me something else was going on, something I didn't want to admit. As Rachel and Lauren continued to laugh and chat, I couldn't help but notice how close they were sitting now. The bubbles from the hot tub seemed to make the space feel more intimate, like it was pulling us all together in this weird foggy way. Lauren leaned her back against the tub's edge, turning her head to look at Rachel with a mischievous smile. You know, we've been friends for so long. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if we crossed some lines. Rachel's eyes flickered at me, and for a split second, there was something almost calculating in her gaze. Maybe it's about time we found out, she said, her voice dropping in tone. I froze. Did she just... But before I could even process what was happening, Lauren looked at me again, her eyes twinkling with something I couldn't quite place. What do you think? She asked, her voice almost teasing. I laughed nervously, not sure how to respond. What were they talking about? Was this some twisted joke I wasn't getting? But Rachel wasn't laughing anymore. She was serious. Too serious. She shifted closer to me in the water, and for a moment, I swore I could feel the heat of her body against mine. I had no idea what to do. Should I move away? Should I call it out? I mean, this was my stepmom, right? But then, Lauren chimed in again, her voice a little quieter now. You know, things can get complicated when the lines get blurred. That was when it hit me. This wasn't a joke. There was something happening here. Something I couldn't ignore. The realization set in slowly. Rachel and Lauren were both trying to make something happen, and they had been inching closer to it all night. I was trapped in this moment, unsure of whether to stop it or just go with the flow. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. The hot tub felt like a pressure cooker. The steam was swirling around us, and the music from inside the house seemed far away, like it belonged to a different world. The tension in the hot tub was suffocating. My mind raced, and I could hear my pulse in my ears. I wanted to leave, but something about the way Rachel and Lauren were looking at me made it feel impossible to just get up and walk away. They had this strange intensity, like they were testing me, waiting for me to make a move. I shifted uncomfortably in the water, trying to maintain some kind of distance between us. But no matter how much I tried to move away, it felt like they were always just a little closer. Rachel reached out, brushing her fingers against my arm. It was subtle, but it was enough to send a chill down my spine. You're really not going to admit it, huh? She said, her voice low and almost a whisper. Lauren's gaze never left me. What's it gonna take, huh? She asked, her tone serious now, as if she was daring me to respond, to do something. I was caught in this impossible situation. On one hand, I knew this was wrong. Everything about this felt off, like I was stepping into something I couldn't control. But on the other hand, I couldn't deny the way the atmosphere had shifted, the way my body was reacting to their closeness, to the way they were both looking at me. Rachel's hand moved slightly, resting on my leg, just above the knee. It wasn't a touch of comfort or friendship anymore. It was deliberate. My heart skipped a beat. My head was screaming for me to get out of there, to stop this before it went any further. And that's when I saw it. The hesitation in Rachel's eyes. The way her hand paused on my leg. For a moment, she seemed to snap back to reality. Her voice broke the silence. This isn't right, is it? Lauren turned to look at her, and for the first time all night, there was a crack in her confidence. She hesitated too. The playful tension that had been building between us just evaporated. Rachel quickly pulled her hand away from me, her face flushing. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me, she muttered, her voice trembling slightly. Lauren didn't say anything for a moment. She just stared at Rachel, her expression unreadable. Then, slowly, she nodded. Yeah, maybe we've had too much wine. It was like the bubble that had been building for hours suddenly popped. All that pressure, all that uncertainty, just vanished in an instant. Neither of them said anything else. The mood shifted back to the casual, light-hearted vibe it had started with. I felt a wave of relief wash over me, but at the same time, I couldn't shake the lingering tension that still hung in the air. I had no idea how close I'd come to crossing a line, but I knew one thing for sure. It was a moment I would never forget. I stayed in the hot tub for a little while longer, my mind racing, but eventually, I couldn't stand it anymore. I got out, quickly drying off and heading inside. Rachel and Lauren didn't try to stop me. They didn't say anything else. They just let me go as if nothing had happened. But I knew something almost happened. Something that would have changed everything. Yeah. Yeah.